So at the start of 2025, I knew absolutely nothing about building. And if you look behind me, now at the end of 2025, I've completed my first ever new build project that I'll actually be living in myself. And so I want to show you guys the entire process of how I did it from the very beginning of everything. So I decided to compile a 2-hour video, which I'm calling a movie, of building my first ever home in 90 days. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's the most valuable video on YouTube to date, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty, so we're at the New Dove project. Just a quick little preliminary view. We have, like I said, 2 lots sitting on this property. Right here, you see 2 buildings, one the main house and then the garage apartment. We're actually starting demo on this one, ASAP. And so the plan would be, like I said, sell a lot and then build on the other lot, just to drive my land pad prices down a little bit. So yeah, that's a little quick preliminary on the lot play. If you want to get more details on what I'll be doing with this project, watch this video up here and you'll get to see the full ins and outs of this entire project. Where are we gonna start at?
I told you 2 weeks, man, but I just gonna take about 3 days, man. Because, yeah, so, but cause I have to disconnect the gas, the water line.
Do I need to call a center point for that? The gas kill?
I'm gonna do all that.
Okay.
So
I don't want to explode it, man.
Yeah, I just need a favor of you, but when we started to do the concrete and all that, you have to get the permits and all that, and
yeah,
we're gonna do the job.
So when you want to start with demo?
By tomorrow.
Let's do it. All right, so we had a pretty eventful day so far. First at closing, then we checked out the New Dove, which I think things are going good at. Locking in, solidifying plans. Pretty much all that's left, is now starting. So hope you guys enjoyed the day in the life. I hope I shared a lot of insightful things. If I did not, my bad. We decided to purchase this property for $350,000. The property is actually 2 lots. So we'll be getting a 2-in-1 deal. Had a chance to speak with my lender about it, and we decided that because this would be my first project, it'd probably be best to sell a lot and then build on the other one, just to kind of bring down my cost basis for the pad or for the lot, and also, again, not go too high in construction prices as far as capital. So like I said, that's kind of the play for this one. Now, we're in a pretty rapidly changing area in Houston. On this specific street, there's numerous 800, 900,000, even $1 million properties just scattered throughout the street. So when I kind of saw this lead, I thought about it. I was like, man, this would be pretty much one of the best opportunities that I've seen in Houston, where you can get a lot for affordable pricing and also kind of reach that luxury pricing on the sell side. Like I said, that was kind of what went into the decision of me deciding to buy this lot. So anyway, yeah, just going in. And yeah, that's kind of the game plan for this project. With the timeline on this project, today is actually February 26th. I had another closing before this. So we'll be intending on demoing this property starting tomorrow, February 27th. It should take roughly between 3 days to a week to get all that complete. And then after that, plans are expected to be completed next week as well. So we'll submit those to the city. Get that approved, and then we'll be ready to break ground. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're able to have this project completed by August of this year, which will be the summer. Hopefully that we can reach that timeline. So that should roughly be around 6 months or so from, actually probably closer to 7, because I closed on this one last month, from completion to end. So we'll see if we're able to meet those timelines or those expectations. But that's kind of the expectation that I have so far on the project. All right, so we'll give a little quick breakdown of what we think the numbers would be on this project. So like I said, on the sell side, we're thinking about $800,000. That'll be the final sales price of this project. And as far as what build costs, we'll be in roughly about $400,000 or so. You'll have your 6% realtor fees. I think I can do a little bit better than that, given the fact that I'm a high volume client for my realtor. You kind of negotiate your realtor fees, but then also on the land cost side, currently we're at $175. Once I sell off this other lot, that's going to drive those prices or that price down quite a bit. So honestly, I'll probably be in all-in land costs between 100, maybe a little bit better, but I would say about 100 to 150 with land costs. Essentially, we're expecting to reach about 175 to 200 as far as profit on this deal. Now, this will be my first ever project, so you guys will get to see as we go along, whatever hiccups come up, whatever it is, if I get to reach that price point. But that's what I'm assuming so far. And I was being pretty conservative on those numbers, so I think we should reach there. But hey, that's the great thing about this whole journey is we get to find out. Only time will tell. So as you see right now, we're currently in the process of demolition.
straight off a Slauson, a crazy motherfucker named Nipsey.
I think last time we did a video, you saw that we were speaking about demolition and kind of the process of that. Like I said, it's real estate. You're gonna run into problems, and that's just part of it. So we hit a few delays as far as with the inspection on getting the demolition permit. We had to cut certain power lines. There's all sort of things that we had to do to pass inspection that I just wasn't expecting. I think me and my GC, because it was something new, you know, it kind of hit us from nowhere. Just passing that took like literally 2.5 to 3 weeks. Just getting to the point now where, as you see behind us, you know, we finally were able to demo the house. We demoed both. So there's that house right there, and then the main house, you know, both got demoed pretty much within a day. Now we're kind of like in the trash pickup part of the demolition process. Also, I want to give you guys, like I said, an in-depth breakdown of this entire journey. This is kind of phase one of that. And so phase one, like I said, was demolition. The kind of behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see is the planning and permitting on the architectural side. So we're currently going through that right now as well. So I'm having to deliver like a water capacity letter to the city. We're having to submit, you know, basically the pre-approval plans. And then we'll wait for about a month for that process, from what I was told, to be able to get that approved. So today is March the 18th. We're expecting to have plans back approved from the city around like April 20th or so. So just to add in a little cushion, I would say probably by the end of April, we should be approved by the city to break ground and start the project. My initial timeline was to have this almost 80% complete by August, so that we'd be able to have at least somewhat of the body of the frame of the house listed on market, and, you know, hit the real estate market at its peak, which is always those summer months. And so I think we're a little bit behind, but I think we're still on track to reach those goals and be able to reach the project timeline that I initially set out for. My insight so far on this process, and something that I would have done differently, is I think being better communication with my architect and really see how we can expedite the process to the quickest way possible. Because I spent probably double the amount of fees that I needed to on architectural plans, because I bought 2 sets of plans from 2 different architects. So I initially bought a set of plans online for them to model after, and then I also had the other architect go back and basically make modifications. So I'd pay for the same plan twice. Essentially, with the second one being modifications that fit the city's code and guidelines. Also, another update on this one is, so I did receive an offer for both of these properties at $470. I didn't accept that offer. We were a little bit, I feel like, overpriced with the lot, which I didn't care because it was just wasting time. Now that we cleared the lot, I think that we're going to relist it, cleared, drop the price a little bit, and hopefully sell within these next 30 days. I think pricing a little bit more aggressively will help us on that end. And so, yeah, pretty much that's been, you know, so far the entire process for what I've learned in phase one of the new development process. Tag along, stay with me as we, you know, go throughout this process. And yeah, you'll see the journey from literally, you know, 0 to hero for a new development. So as you guys see, I'm doing real deals in real time. And I just launched a one-of-one wholesale and real estate program that'll teach you how to wholesale in 30 days or less. Everything that you need to know from A to Z. Or if you're more interested in the real estate investing journey and you want to skip all the headaches and problems that come with it, then I have the perfect opportunity for you to partner with me directly on a deal, on a project where you get your own returns, but also learn the entire process from A to Z. Click the link above or in the description box to take the next step. See you soon. Hey, you see the skyline behind you, man? Vibes.
What's going through your mind, Big Money?
It's very anxious, very nervous, man. It's my first time ever selling property. Nah, man, you know, it's another day at it, man. It's always cool to see whenever you, you know, have something in mind, a vision in place, and it turns out to be, you know, something that comes true in reality. So it's always a great thing. But yeah, man, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. That's the wise words for today.
Yeah, this sale is officially making Brent a trillionaire. So we got the most humble trillionaire in the game right here.
Glad to be a part of this. Guys, so today's a big payday. I'll show you guys how much I'm making. Cash the seller. Good old $0. That's it.
Hey, that's dinner today, baby. That's dinner today.
You know, for free skis.
You made it. You made it, bro.
For free skis, you know, that's what we work for. The good old $0. But no, in all seriousness, it's just kind of more equity on the back end for my new development loan. So this one just pays that one down. I basically am in the land for like 100 or so, and everything else is construction costs. So that's why you see the big 0. It's not because I'm actually getting paid nothing, and this goes towards a bigger loan. This is just another step in the process. Like I said, we still need to, build a home and sell it. But phase 1, I think we're complete at, and we're like I said, we're making great progress on the plans. We're 60% complete on that, so that's great news because they always talk about how slow the city of Houston is with the plans and permitting section. So to be able to speed race through that and obviously sell the lot is great.
The 4th.
Yeah, I was in Houston all week for like other projects, and so that's why I was like, let me try to get this done while I'm in Houston. All right, so we just finished signing with the closing. All went well. So we're either going to finalize today or Monday. Today's a Friday for official documents and paperwork. But like I said, we got phase 1 out the way, which is a positive. All right, so we're back again, like I said, at the project. We're already past all the city inspections, approval, and all that. So yesterday, the foundation guy came out and he said, hey, where's the reference points? I said, what are you talking about? He says we need 4 reference points to start the actual form boards of the property and to actually start pouring everything down. So I'm going to walk you guys and kind of show you what they're talking about. So the slab of the actual property would be about 2,200 square foot. And so this is kind of like a rough estimate, but essentially what they're saying is they need a corner, like roughly like around here, staked off for obviously accurate, markers. And also it gives you the elevation to know how much concrete you need to pour in order for the slabs. So you'll walk back here, and essentially you would need another corner kind of staked off for that. And so this is something that your survey company can do. I'm really just kind of going over this because for any new builders, it's something to look out for, as I was not told beforehand that this was necessary in order to start, or otherwise I would have had it done. Also, an interesting development is I've had 2 or 3 surveys done in the past, and on my most recent, as I told you guys before, I was selling one of the lots and I was keeping one of them, right? And so there's a discrepancy between the county appraisal website as far as what they had the lot listed as square foot size and then what the survey company came back with. And we're like, how is this big of a discrepancy? Because it's roughly around like 2,000 square feet or so. And so I'm going to show you guys where they messed up and then kind of like what actually happened. And so if you look like let's go right here, for instance. So I think originally they had the lot lines somewhere like around here as far as staked off, and they thought that the lot ended right here. And so then if you look more recently, it's like right here. And I actually think it's even further over here, but I need to still confirm with them. So anyway, this discrepancy within the lot came back, and that happened while I was selling off the other lot. So they came back and they said, hey man, like we see on the county it says that it's this amount of square footage. Everything is saying that it's not, but then the most recent survey said that it's not that big. So we're not going to pay the price that we offer, given the fact that it's smaller than what we thought it was. So I said, okay, that's fine. It makes sense. Obviously I wasn't going to be a stickler about it, and I agreed to let them basically pay $15,000 less on the lot than what was previously agreed upon, right? And with that, when the most recent survey that was done that the city required, the survey company for one took a lot of delays, and I was like, man, you guys have already been out there, like what's the issue with this delay? Well, come to find out, they were wrong on the square foot, and actually what was told at the very beginning and the county's lot size was actually a lot more accurate than what they had, because they hadn't accounted for easements that the other properties had on our property, or encroachments, one or the other, on our property, and they didn't account for that square foot. So it came back when they actually did, do their proper due diligence, that our lot was a lot bigger, and that her lot was around the size that what was initially told to her. And so, yeah, I'm in a weird situation right now where I'm having to like file against the title policy. That's why you need to always go through your proper measures in order to, sell properties, so that you can file against title insurance, because the survey that was done for the title insurance on this one and that was approved was wrong. So yeah, that was a situation that I didn't expect to find myself in. Yeah, now we're having to kind of go through that process to recoup the money that was lost on their mistake of that. So they've already admitted to being wrong. There's a lot of just challenges already that's been faced, but again, like I said, it's not to be not expected, especially given if it's something new, if that you're in the field and that you have not previously been through before. You're kind of gonna hit your head, bump your head on things throughout the entire process. After months of waiting, designing, planning, and everything else that comes with it, the time has officially come to start on my first new build project. This whole idea started with just a vision and a sketch, and I wanted to create something that was modern, warm, kind of visionary for this area, in order to build something I felt inspired by, especially to go back in years on the future and say, like, this is something I'm proud of for my first official new build. And so that's what I'm trying to do, and that's why I'm being very intentional every step of the way during this process of learning, growing, and everything else. So as you see behind me, the lot has been cleared, the excavation has been done as well, and we set up the form boards on the project to basically start foundation for the entire project. And so I'll kind of give you guys a tour over what's been done so far, where we're at in the stages of the project, and what to expect next as far as moving along in the process. So as you'll look right here, you'll see that the trenches have been dug, and so this trench work is essentially for obviously your underground plumbing, which is basically one of the first stages of breaking ground in a new development project, is that you need all of the underground plumbing to be done, basically just to make the whole process a lot easier. Obviously, because if you do the foundation work first, then it's like, well, where is all of this going to go, especially with underground plumbing. We had quite a bit of trench work. Now, it didn't take too long overall. I think it was maybe like a 2 or 3 day process. We had everything marked off and sealed, where you can't really see it right now, but where we would put basically markers where the toilets would go, sinks, kitchen, everything that needed plumbing, especially on the first floor, was marked off. And obviously we had the trenches dug in order to accurately match that process. And so what's next essentially is that we need to pass inspection on the underground plumbing to make sure that everything has been done properly. This is called like the top off phase. But once that passes inspection, then the next part of the process will be for the rebar part to take place for the foundation. That way we can start pouring and start framing, essentially after that. So look, man, we're here. The time has finally come where everything is moving in place and in motion, and it's good to finally see things manifest in reality for that. So yeah, that's kind of the phase that we're at right now. Is I guess the vertical stage, the infancy of the vertical stage. And these are part of the process that you guys need to know for the whole thing. Essentially, even with the form boards, the form, it is exactly what it says it is the form is for basically forming the cement that'll be taking place and poured here just in a matter of a few weeks or a few days. That's pretty much phase one of this entire process. I'm gonna keep you guys updated, obviously, as we go further and further in, but it's nice to finally see some real action being taken place here after so long of just having like dirt and everything be a vision at this point. So right now we're in a foundation phase. That means grading the lot, setting the footing, and making sure that your underground plumbing is placed correctly. This is super vital and very important to the whole process, because once the slab is poured, there is no going back. And if you do go back, it's going to cost you thousands on thousands extra to break up the slab and redo whatever mistakes have been made. So that's why it's essentially vital to make sure that everything is done basically on the front end
That way you don't have to be penalized on the back end of these costs. And so I'm trying to be very diligent, especially with this being my first project, to make sure that we're doing this properly, because I don't want to go over budget on this one. And obviously I don't want to make any mistakes that could be prevented if I just, properly do the proper measures beforehand. So I know it's a little bit hard to tell, but I'm gonna show you guys around the floor plan just so you guys can kind of get the early vision of what I plan on building. So if you look right behind me right here on this side, this will be where the entire kitchen area is. So I'm assuming that this is probably the sink area right there, or kitchen area right here. And then if you look on this other side right here, this will be where your master bathroom will be placed. So you'll have the shower over here. You'll also have obviously your bath and sinks over here as well, or vanities over there. And so pretty much the portion that we're standing at right now will be leading into the garage. So I wanted, at first we actually had this flipped on the other side, but due to some of the, I think like forestry rules that they had in place, we had to flip or mirror the other side of the project to make sure that we weren't spending any extra, money on having to build trees to place on a property, and also not have to waste time going through that entire process of basically going through another department to pass. Rather, if we can just kind of avoid it by flipping the entire floor plan, we just, decided to do that to make sense, honestly. And so, yeah, I think obviously the open floor plan concept is still one of the floor plans I like the most, especially in, today's age. I think just having that open space makes the house feel a lot bigger. You want to feel like you have space. That's kind of one of the reasons why I chose this layout or this floor plan. And it'll also be interesting. Now, obviously, you guys won't be able to see this until the framing phase, which will be in a few weeks. I also am kind of in the middle of a decision right now where if I want to keep a movie room or turn it into a 4th bedroom. So I think I need you guys' help on what you would prefer to see in this project, whether it be a movie room, which I think would be pretty cool, but also a 4th bedroom, which could add in a lot of potential profit on the back end of this deal on the sales side. So that's kind of a little bit of the debacle that I'm in with that. But again, you guys won't see that, truthfully until the framing phase, which is, still about a few weeks out. I think one of the only other things that we have a patio area, which will be back here as well. And the issue with the patio area that I'm kind of seeing is that it looks like the backyard isn't going to be as big as I want it to. So we're going to have to try to figure something out to maximize the full backyard space. That's one of the good selling points, especially in this area, is that you can still be, really close to downtown, 5 to 10 minutes, but still have like a backyard. So that's one of the key selling points I feel like that this area has over other similar areas in Houston, especially with proximity to downtown. And so I'm going to try to maximize that space as well, just to make sure that we capitalize on, every advantage that we have overall. And so, yeah, this one will have also a flex space, which, essentially is another word for an office space. But you can pretty much do, I guess, whatever you want to. Most people use it, as an office for this one. So, yeah, given the fact this is my first floor plan, we'll see how everything turns out. So far, so good, as far as, what me and my architect have kind of went back and forth with. But yeah, I think, like I said, just seeing things actually start to manifest and make a turn in reality is definitely a rewarding process overall. And even though right now it's still kind of dirt work essentially, and all the underground stuff, you still see work is being done. So it feels like, we're moving closer and closer towards that finish line. And yeah, man, I'm gonna put a challenge on myself that I want to get this one done by August. I think today is around like May 21st. So I have roughly, give or take 60 days to get this one completed. And that's kind of the goal that I'm headed towards on this one is let's get it done while we can in the summer months. That way we can capitalize at least on all the potential buyers that are, looking to move and buy a property during the summer, because that's the most common. Obviously, you have children, and you don't want to have them move schools during the school year. So the obvious choice is just to move during the summer. And so that's kind of my thoughts behind this one. Let me know if you guys have any tips as far as something different or, something aesthetically pleasing I could do during this process that you guys might want to see incorporated. And I might take your advice, man. If it's a good idea, I don't mind, taking it. Just don't charge me for it. So yeah, just to conclude and everything that I've kind of talked about in today's video, Once we get this inspection passed and actually pour the concrete and the foundation, I think this is really going to start to take form and really start to look like a house. And so you guys are going to see it go pretty rapidly and pretty quickly, which is always the coolest part of the process. Again, is, you know, you go from so much mental work, and so seeing it, you know, translate into the physical world is always, like I said, a very rewarding process. And so, yeah, man, this is my first ever house build. So you're going to see everything, the ups and the downs, the goods, the bads, the highs, the lows. I mean, an entire process, the entire journey, I'm going to share with you guys. I'm not going to cut anything out. So you guys will see it, you know, 100% raw and authentic the entire way. And so if this is something that interests you, then yeah, subscribe, follow along in the process, and you know, keep tabs on everything that's going, because I think that this can be mutually beneficial for both parties, where, you know, I get to just have the freedom of documenting the journey so that I can look back on it, you know, years in the future, and you guys can learn as I'm going through it, literally step by step, phase by phase of the entire process. And so just to give you guys a little bit of my goals, pretty much what milestones I want to hit. Like I said, I plan on listing this one in August. We'll see if I hit that. I plan on listing this one. Now the market is in a pretty, you know, weird space right now, given the tariffs and everything. I think I could get $850 for this one. Now, what I wrote numbers for, we always want to be conservative. So you always want to be conservative. As I wrote the numbers at 800, but I think we can get 850. And if we can, then we'll hit about that 250 profit margin on this one. Now, if you hit about 800, you're getting about closer to 175 to 200. Either way, a win is a win. And that's why you need to also buy your properties off market, because you already buy equity within the deal. And so if the market turns, you guys are essentially able to take that hit while still coming out in the green, which is obviously, this is a business. You know, that's the main goal, is you want to be profitable in whatever project that you take on. And so, yeah, man, like I said, if this is something that interests you, then follow along. All right, you guys. So as you see, we're back with another video. This time, we're doing the foundation stage of the entire new build process. Throughout this process right now, as you see behind me, they're currently doing the rebar, and then we're gonna pass the inspection today, fingers crossed, in order to start actually pouring the foundation tomorrow. And we're gonna let it sit for about a week, and then we can start the framing process. But yeah, man, like I said, the past few weeks have been pretty tumultuous as far as we've had weather delays. A horrible issue popped up as far as with one of my GCs that I had running with the plumbing. I got $4,000 stolen from me pretty much from that project. So I had to cut that guy out the way. And yeah, man, but like I said, this entire process is a learning experience, and I don't really blame anyone except myself. I should be accountable, you know, dot all my I's, cross all my T's for every step of the way. So yeah, over this video, I'll pretty much go over, you know, what to expect as far as with the foundation process, what's coming up next, the budgets, everything that we have going on is pretty much what this video will entail. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, so as you guys see, we're on site. We got the guys out here working, man. Looks like the rebar process, like, we're pretty much done. It looks like they've pretty much wrapped up everything. So earlier this week, I was supposed to actually have this one, I would say, finished about 2 or 3 days ago, but we had some pretty bad weather the past few weeks, so that kind of delayed, obviously, this. And then we were waiting on passing the underground plumbing inspection. And, you know, just to give you guys a little bit of detail of what kind of happened with that full experience. So we did pass the underground plumbing inspection, but the issue was that how I had the proposal set up with the GC that was running it, he pretty much front-ended all of his profit. And so he needed another draw in order to order materials, which on the initial proposal, the materials were supposed to be purchased with all that money in the deposit. It was not. Needless to say, there was a big feud between us on that one. Things did not end well. He is no longer on this project because of that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be a little bit more hands-on throughout this entire process and not really delegate, you know, too much out. Obviously, I can't actually do the handyman work, but as much as I can be on site, boots on the ground, I'm gonna be throughout this process, just because so far, man, just delegating stuff off with other people that haven't proven themselves has not worked out for me. So I'm going to, like I said, be a lot more boots on the ground throughout this entire process. But yeah, let's kind of walk throughout the project, see what's going on, see what's next, and yeah. All right, so also I seen someone say, which is a good point in the comments, that this area did not look like an $800,000 to $1 million home should go in there. If you look to my left right here, you'll see 2 new homes that were just built, obviously on the same street, and those both sold for like, I think, mid-7s. And then further down the street, as you go on, you'll see all types of different $800,000 to $1 million homes on the street. So you brought up a good point, but that's not the case with this exact project. So I did want to touch on that for, you know, everyone kind of interested or curious why I decided to build in this neighborhood specifically. So yeah, I don't truly know too much in total, aside from with the rebar, exactly what we have, you know, but I know obviously it strengthens the concrete whenever it's poured. But yeah, so as you see, they're laying it right now, goes in grids, 4x4s on this process. And then I guess, yeah, they're just pretty much laying it down, get ready for prep work. You see the mats and tarps down and pour tomorrow on that process. Love to see it, love to see all boots on ground, everyone, all hands working. That way, you know things are being done efficiently and fast, and we're getting closer and closer to that deadline. So like I said, the next phase will be obviously framing for this. Framing should take about roughly 2 weeks. So like I said, we'll pour tomorrow. Fingers crossed we pass inspection. Once we pour the foundation, then we'll be ready for framing and have that whole process and get ready for the rough ends after. So yeah, man, like I said, we're speeding along. I gave myself a 60-day deadline. I think that was roughly about 9 days ago. So I think with the weather delays, we hit about 2 or 3 of those days that were unusable, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I think I'll keep you guys updated. I'm gonna try to make this all one video, just so we're not just harping on kind of the same things. So when I catch you guys again, the foundation should be poured, and I'll kind of go over what has happened throughout that timeline or that process and what everything looks like. But as of now, you see the project is being done. We're, like I said, steady moving forward. So that's a great thing. So I'll catch you guys on the next segment of the video. So as the last video, you guys saw the rebar process taking place. Now, as you see behind me, the foundation has been poured, which is obviously a great milestone and achievement of this entire new home build process. So now we sit and wait. We have to let the foundation or the concrete cure and dry for the next few days. Luckily, we live in Texas where it's like 100 degrees every day in the summer. So that should, you know, expedite the process by quite a bit, luckily. So yeah, I think we'll let it sit for about 4 to 5 days, and then we'll begin the framing process later on this week. So yeah, man, like I said, it's definitely just cool to see, you know, everything kind of now really going into motion. Like I said, now we're getting sticks up here in a few days, and the house are really start to, you know, come along pretty rapidly. So I think we had left off where we need to pass inspection. The foundation sub is really good, man. So we passed inspection on the first run, no issues about that. They started literally that next morning with pouring, came out like super early. So yeah, we were able to get that one taken care of pretty quickly. So yeah, as we walk around, you can kind of see everything really start to take shape with the entire process. So like I said, this would be the whole like master area, as far as master bathroom, master bedroom, you know, on pretty much this entire side. You'll have the living area back here, and then you have the garage area right over here. And you start to see, like, you know, obviously different elevations, and that's just what the plan's called for, you know, on this. So you drop down here, this will be your garage. We have a 2-car garage. I just need to see it framed up, but I'm not sure if it'll be, you know, if it can truly fit 2 cars or not. I don't know, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. But then as you come back here, you guys will see, you know, again, like I said, this is a living space over here. The dining area, I'll be placed right here. And then as we step foot on this side, we'll see that this is where your patio area is gonna be. Again, we're gonna need to try to maximize backyard space, you know, best way possible. So still gotta kind of brainstorm some ideas of how to really maximize that space. But ultimately, man, like I said, the ball is rolling. We're ready to rock and roll. So I really am like appreciative and thankful for all the help, you know, the support on the YouTube channel, just people in real life, you know, just everything it takes, because it really is a lot, especially on your first new build. And I don't really have like a direct mentor. I kind of like just kind of don't get me wrong, I got people I can rely on, but I'm trying to play it, you know, myself, just so I can learn and absorb all the information, you know, as much as possible, so that, you know, my next project, I can kind of handle it myself and you know, do better and do better each build. So the build process is coming along pretty well. As of today, I think we're like June 8th. So like I said, I want to really, by the end of next month, have some really solid framing and everything kind of roughed in. That way we can kind of pre-list this thing and get it on market for a potential pre-sale on this one. And like I said, take advantage of those summer months, you know, where all the buyers are really looking to you know, move and take home a new home, essentially. So yeah, man, like I said, next will be framing. Oh, and I'll give you guys the pricing of what I paid. Like I said, I want to be as transparent as possible on this entire process. And so to break down the cost, this was like a turnkey project as far as the foundation. So I paid $29,588 plus a $400 permitting fee. So we're looking at like literally right at $30K in total. The slab, I think in total was $22.68 for that. So I can't even think off the top of my head how much that was per square foot, but I think we were at like 13 when we negotiated. I think we were like $12.50 to $13 a square foot in total. I know that's a little bit more than what I would like to pay, and I probably could have cut costs, honestly, but given the fact that I had already done a previous job with this sub or this contractor, I knew that he would get the job done and he would be fast with it. So sometimes you have to pay a little bit more for speed and trust and integrity. Like I said, mentioned in the earlier video, I had already had experience with a contractor that I hadn't used before that kind of walked away with like $4 grand. So this guy, I knew he's proven trustworthy, and look, we're standing here now, you know, the end of his work and the result of it. So sometimes you have to pay a little bit extra for, you know, that ease of mind of knowing things will get done. So to finish up this video, yeah, like I said, we're now done. Foundation is complete. So that's another check mark off the checklist, you know. So that's a great sign of progress, you know, throughout this entire process. You know, is definitely getting now to the vertical stage, which, you know, consists of framing and everything else. Like I said, we'll be starting on that in a few days. So yeah, this entire process, this entire journey, I think should be pretty interesting in seeing how it unfolds throughout these next few weeks, few months. I really want to, like I said, hit that deadline of finishing this one out within the next 60 days or so. So like I said, we'll kind of gauge and see how, you know, align or match up with that entire deadline. And so yeah, this is the home building process, man. There's goods, there's bads, there's everything that comes with it, but you know, again, it's a rewarding process overall for that. And even with the mistakes that I've made so far, there's nothing I'd take back. I'd still redo this process 100 out of 100 times. Last week, as you saw, we had finished the foundation of the entire project. Now we're moving on to the frame. And the first floor has pretty much been finished and completed. So now we need to set the joist and then move on to the second floor of the project starting next week. We've had a few weather delays, so that's kind of interrupted some of our process or how fast we can move. But so far, everything's been coming along as scheduled. So as promised, we're gonna do a walkthrough of the entire project. Now that the first floor has been completed, I think you guys can really get to kind of visually see what I've been talking about and this entire process. So what we're walking through right now is a garage. Excuse the lumber everywhere, but I guess the framers thought it'd be better to kind of have the lumber placed in the garage, quote unquote. But this will be the garage area, what we're standing in right now. We can do like a quick little 360. And then as we walk through here will be the door to enter into the utility room slash the guest bathroom. So the guest bathroom will be placed right here. And so that would be a half bathroom downstairs. And this will kind of be like your utility room right over here. And this space right there. And then you have another door that then walks into the kitchen. And so all of this will probably be cabinets alongside this whole entire wall. One thing, if you see how tall the first floor is, it's because I decided to go 11 foot first floor. That's because I think the higher ceilings gives like more of a luxury aesthetic look. When you walk into a house, this feels really big. And I think, you know, that definitely is something when you're trying to sell a spec house, you need to stand out from competitors. And so your average 9 to 10 foot builds, you know, don't stack up the same as an 11 foot, 12 foot even first floor. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I chose that. And then obviously over here, like I said, you have your dining area right over here. And then as we move, like I said, further along over here, you'll have your island right here, and then you'll have your full-on living area, living space. So it's gonna be pretty open. Again, I like that. It's gonna have that pretty, like that open floor plan aesthetic and look, which again always bodes well, especially in like modern age. I know back in the past how they used to build, there's rooms, but I think everyone kind of now agrees that modern floor or open floor plans are a little bit better than the past. So then as you walk over here, you'll see we have a fireplace going up as well. So again, man, when you're dealing with those certain price points, given the fact that this one will be, you know, between that $800,000 to $1 million price range, we just want to throw in whatever bones that we can throw, again, to kind of stand out amongst our peers or our competitors. And so, like I said, we'll have a fireplace placed right here. And as you walk backside right here, again, excuse the weather, but you'll have your balcony area right here, or back patio area, I should say, over on this side. And so there should be a door. Where's the door at? Well, I think you walk through this way, right? Yeah, so you walk through here, and then we'll go to the master bedroom first. So you walk through over here, and this will lead into the master bedroom. And so this will be a door right here. And then you have your master bedroom right over here, which I think it should be a pretty good size overall. Yeah, I think the master bedroom would be pretty good. Probably I could have made it a little bit bigger, but I don't think it's a make or break type of issue. So then we'll walk over here, and as you see the plumbing right here, these will be your fixtures or for your vanities. So I have a dual vanity placed right here, and then I'll have also, oh yeah, I'll have a tub placed right here. So quick thing, you don't see any pipes right here or plumbing, and you're like, well, how's the tub gonna go right here? So quick thing that my framer pointed out to me when we started framing this project, you know, like I said a few days ago, was that the plumber made a severe mistake. And I had mentioned this in one of the past videos where I was like, we got to make sure the plumbing is correct. That way on the back end, there's no mistakes where we have to mess up the concrete. Well, you know, stuff happens, and that just took place because now where the tub was supposed to go right here, they didn't put the correct plumbing. And so now we're gonna have to, I'll show you guys what I mean by that as well. So as you see right here, this is correct sort of because the shower will be right here. But then, and here I'll show you guys too, as we look through here, there'll be a bath, not a bath, I'm sorry, a toilet right here on this room. But then if you look right here, this is the closet space. So all this over here, I can show you guys, is like all closet area. I know we got, you know, studs everywhere, so lumber everywhere, so you can't really maybe see too, but if you can look right down here, you'll see that in the closet is another plumbing pipe, and that is a mistake because the pipe is supposed to be put right over there, and again, they just didn't follow the plan. So we're gonna have to fix that here pretty shortly and make sure that we get that all taken care of. And so yeah, I'll give you guys a walkthrough of the rest of the house. I told you guys the guest bathroom was down here. I was right, but it's on the other side. So this will be your actual guest bathroom, I think on this side, which makes more sense. I think the utility area is right here. One or the other. Sorry, I'm going off the top of my head. I don't have the plans in place right now. And so then, yeah, you'll have that. You walk over here, and then you walk in this area right here. You'll have your office space right over here. And so I think it should be a rather good sized office, honestly. So I am happy with that. You'll, you know, have your natural lighting over here. You see the window placements right here. So you have a good amount of natural lighting in these areas, which, you know, I think bodes well for a project. And then over in this area, you have your front porch all over here, which is a pretty good size, I think, front porch. So overall, man, like I said, we're definitely speed racing throughout this entire project. I think now that I'm in it, it's a lot more alleviating as far as the pressure, stress, because everything is starting to kind of click. And I think that's just what comes naturally with anything that you kind of get new into, and then you become, you know, comfortable with the process. Now everything kind of starts to make sense, whereas everything was kind of like a question mark at the beginning. Everything's starting to just make sense, and I think that's why action is so important. And whatever you do, honestly, is because you're not going to know everything at the beginning, but as you get into it, obviously, like with anything else, you just get more experienced, you get wiser in those experiences, and so everything, again, just kind of starts to form and click. And so, like I said, now, honestly, you know, and I might be a little bit audacious by saying this, but I feel like I could build kind of any kind of house at this point, just with even this experience that I've had so far in my limited time. So yeah, man, I definitely advise you guys that, you know, if you're looking to get into new construction, definitely be aware of your market. You know, given the fact that you have so much uncertainty going on in the current market, you know, there's definitely, I feel like, a hit on certain real estate areas and markets. But overall, if you have a good project, I would definitely recommend anyone to venture out and try to, you know, definitely get into new construction, because it is a very rewarding, both educationally and also financially, you know, if you're able to do it correctly. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the walkthrough. Like I said, next time we go back, I'll show you guys the second floor, and we should be pretty much completed with framing overall, but we have started, it's official. Now, you know, we speed race to the finish line. So yeah, I'll catch you guys. So as you guys seen in the walkthrough, pretty much everything is taking shape and it's taking form. So it's a lot more visual these days than in the past videos where everything is kind of like an idea, which I really enjoy, really like to see. Like I said, everything kind of taking form and taking shape. Pretty much, like I said, what we have next in store is just getting this all framed up, and then we'll be moving on to the next phases of the project. And also, I think I mentioned in a past video that I wanted to really pre-list this one so that we could capture all the summer months for selling. Well, as of yesterday, we were able to pre-list this one on the MLS, on the market. So now it is available, obviously, for purchase. I'm not really sure what to expect. Like I said, given the fact this is my first new construction project and the first time I've pre-listed anything without being completed. So fingers crossed, all goes well. But I think it definitely helps, like I said, to kind of jump out early on this kind of stuff, rather than wait until the project is completed, because you never know what could potentially happen with potential home buyers and everything else that goes on in the market. All right, so we're back again with another video. As you see, we have started officially on the second floor. I think we're about 75% complete at this point. So things are definitely moving fast. We should finish up, I think, with the walls today or tomorrow. And then by Wednesday, all the sheathing should be up. So you should see on the first floor, all the sheathing, which is the plywood, has been installed and put up. We're here, it's time. Now we are officially underway. Alrighty, so we'll be moving on to the next phases of the project once we're completed with framing and past inspection, which are called your MEPs. So we'll need your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing on these next few phases. And so we'll move on to that next week. And once we complete that phase, then we should be ready to start drying in and do the drywall with the entire project. So I'm looking forward to that, because then at that point, we can really start to move forward with the interior design, which is kind of what I've been looking forward to the most in this entire project, is like the interior design phase. I'm one of those creative guys that really enjoy just the creativity in general. So being able to kind of really make this home a unique one of one is something I'm looking forward to in the future. So yeah, let's go do a walkthrough of this project, and we'll see what's been done so far and what else is left on this entire thing. All right, so as promised, we're gonna do a walkthrough of the project. We'll kind of see, like I said, we're about 75% done with framing. So we'll kind of walk through. You guys have already seen the layout, or I've talked about it quite a few times. So I'm not gonna go in depth with the layout. I'm just gonna go in depth with kind of where we're at with framing. So as you see right here, you'll see plywood up. That's called sheathing. So that's a part of the framing stage. Pretty much kind of like, I guess, encloses in the frame, or framing before you start on like siding phase of the project. So we got the sheathing up on the first floor, and like I said, we've kind of moved forward. Everything is kind of beginning to get closed in. So it's crazy, man, just how rapid everything is changing. in this entire process. Because literally every time I come back out to the project, it's like a brand new home that I'm looking at, which it is a brand new house, but you get what I'm saying. Let me bring this up. So we probably would have been done by now, but we had a problem with the material list. So on the delivery on one of the material lists, we didn't have the correct joist or trusses, and so that set us back by 3 to 4 days last week, where we weren't really able to start on the second floor because we needed the trusses, which were included in the plans, to kind of connect the first to second floor and support the second floor. So if you look up here, you'll see it's full of trusses, these little things that you see running all across this second floor. And so that set us back, like I said, 3 to 4 days just having to get the delivery of that. And so like I said, you always need to make sure that whenever you're talking to your framers or whatever contractors that you're using, that the material list is correct. That way you can avoid any issues as far as potential delays that could have been resolved on the front end had you double check the material list. Again, just because I'm new, I had the material list and I just didn't confirm with my contractor. He thought one thing, I thought another, and we were just kind of like that miscommunication created that problem with that. So that's what I guess this past week what a little bit of a holdup was, and while we're not completely done with framing, but here in a few days we'll be right at 2 weeks. So I know some people can do it faster. I would have loved to get it done in a week. It's not the case here. We had weather, even just today, like an hour ago, we just had bad weather. So you have weather delays, but the issues that you can avoid and control the controllables, that's always the main thing. And so a few other things right here, we measured out the main bedroom earlier. I think it was a 14 by 12. And so me and my friend talked, he's like, look man, you could have used a lot more space. So if you look into the master real quick, the master obviously is one of your biggest selling points with this entire home build process, because whoever is buying the property is more than likely going to stay here. So the problem is that the master is almost just as big as the office, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. We have the staircase going up as well. If you come over here and look, it's like, dang, the office is literally almost just as big as the master bedroom. And he's like, man, look, you could have taken away some space from the office and just made it, a decent size, and then add that extra square footage or feet to the master bedroom, which would have been more appealing. But again, we kind of like, look, this is our first run at it. Not everything's gonna be perfect, but it's something I'll keep in mind on my next, my next builds, on my next floor plans, is to make sure that we're utilizing all the space that we have properly and correctly. That way nothing's being wasted. And I'm gonna point out one more thing. If you look right here and you look up, all of this is just like attic unused space. So none of this will be livable square foot or storage space in this one. And so my friend Rion was like, man, why do you guys not use this space? And I'm like, well, I didn't even know that was attic space, truthfully. But once he brought it to my attention, I thought about it and I was like, man, moving forward, I'm definitely going to be very particular and diligent when speaking with my architect to make sure that we're using the floor plan and the plans to maximize all space. Again, because on this build, I'm not really too mad about it, because we're already at 4 bedrooms, we're at 2.5 baths. So, and I don't want to, if I added in, let's say 5th bedroom, another bathroom, I would have had to probably add on the back end another 100,000, 150,000 to a sales price. I don't want to do that because I want to be competitive with my pricing. So for this one, like I said, I'm not really tripping on it. But as I go and do more luxury developments or bigger projects, I want to make sure that we're using and utilizing all space properly and correctly. That's kind of, like I said, the learning lessons that I've learned so far in my, however much time being a newbie builder. But again, day by day, I'm learning, new stuff. It's kind of cool. It's like I'm going back to college again, but in the new construction field. So yeah, it's been a very rewarding, like I said, overall experience. I'm not sure if this video is going to be 1 video or 2. We'll kind of see how things go. If this is like just the first segment, then on second segment, I'm gonna walk over and describe or discuss with you guys the second floor. As that would be complete, we'll do a full walkthrough of the house. So as you guys see, we're nearing the ending stage of the framing of this entire project, of my first ever new construction project. Like I said, it's been a really, really cool thing to see throughout, just kind of the beginning stages. Everything's starting to take form, take shape, and everything really starting to, look like the vision that I set out for at the beginning. Like I said, as we move forward into these next few phases, we'll start to put the siding up. We'll start on the MEPs of this project, and man, at that point now, everything on the interior is going to start to match the exterior as far as completion. And like I said, I'm thinking within these next month and a half or so, we'll be at the end of this entire project. So stay tuned, like I said, as we continue to move forward, speed race to the deadline. So as you guys see, we're back, this time with a completed framed house and project. The second story has been completed. Let's go do a walkthrough and see what it looks like. As promised, we're gonna do a walkthrough of now the final framed project, and kind of you guys get to see the second story floor plan, which I think would be pretty cool. And yeah, just get to see the entire project now really take shape and take form of, the plans and the vision. Also, side note, this is unacceptable, always. I think, how you keep the job site is a representation of yourself. And so you never want to, obviously have it too dirty. So as promised, let's do the walkthrough. We'll go through here first, the front entrance. So yeah, actually today, forgot to mention, we started with the electrical trades as far as the rough ends. So they put in all the boxes of the first floor, and we got that installed for the entire first floor. Kind of wanted to get a head start on that. The problem is obviously that the roof is not roughed in, so we couldn't get any wires due to the fact that if rain came, the wires would get messed up. So we got the boxes installed though, so that's a good step, I guess, in that direction. As you see, all of the rafters have been pretty much framed and installed up here. So like I said, man, framing is definitely taking a pretty good turn. Now let's go upstairs. If you guys haven't seen, check the other video for the first floor and the full walkthrough. This one is just kind of going over the full, everything in totality walkthrough. It's mostly specifying the second floor since we've already done the first floor on that. So as you guys see, when we go up the stairs, you first walk into this loft area, which I think is pretty spacious. I think I already have some ideas as far as how someone could potentially stage it. So I think I have kind of like a seating living area, like right over here. And then you'll have a wall right over here. And so on this wall, I think is where you can kind of place a TV, and they'll be over there chilling. So I think it's a cool loft area. Or you can even use it as like a nook or something for a library. I don't know. But anyway, as we walk through here, we'll go into, so on this story, or on this floor, you have 3 bedrooms. So we'll walk into this first one right over here. And as you see, that's a pretty good size secondary, bedroom. Honestly, I think for kids, it's a really good size. You have, your window right here. You can look at an apartment building, whatever. And then you have a pretty good size closet, again, for a kid. I think it's more than enough space. So I'm not too mad about that. So this is 1 of 3. And then you'll walk over here and you'll see the upstairs bathroom. Now this will be a full bathroom. Talking to actually my framer bought this, and so you'll have your vanity area over here. You have your door right here. And then as you walk over here, we'll kind of do like the dual combo with the shower and bath. So you have that right here, and then you have your toilet right here. And I was kind of like, man, if you walk in here, I don't feel like the space is going to be like enough, He said that, it's pretty typical or standard from what he saw, so he didn't really complain too much about that. So I don't know, we'll have to see once, it's really up and running what that looks like as a finished product. So then we'll walk over here to the other secondary bedroom.
This will be the second of 3. Again, a good size. You have 2 windows out here. And yeah, we're going to install windows next week as well. I forgot to mention that. So next week, the plans are siding, roof, windows, doors, plumbing, and electrical. So, I mean, man, we have, like I said, a crazy week next week, right in time for 4th of July. So, yeah, a lot going on. But, yeah, you have 2 pretty big windows out here. I don't know the exact measurements, but definitely look like you can get a lot of natural light. And then you have another closet over here. And I think the way that this one is shaped definitely feels like more space than the other one. Again, another good sized closet. And you have another window right here, which I just realized out on this closet. So again, a lot of natural light in this room. And as we walk through this area, this will be a door right here. This will be the next bedroom right here, which was originally going to be a movie room. But as you see, this room is huge. I think actually it's the biggest room in the house. But yeah, this room is huge. We decided to turn it into a bedroom just because due to the fact of we think it'll serve us better on the sales side as a bedroom rather than it be a movie room or an additional space. We have a closet right here that we decided to turn into. So you have that we added into the entire project. You need a closet in order to make something an official bedroom. So we decided to kind of makeshift this into it. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire second floor of the new development project. Like I said, man, things are moving pretty well, man. And like I said, I'm just getting really comfortable with this new development project. So it's really cool to see. But yeah, like I said, I'll catch you guys next week as we finish the siding, finish roofing, start with the rough end. And yeah, until next time. Honestly, on the next video update that you guys see, the house will look kind of night and day different just from already what you see right now. Just because how much we have moving on next week. I think it's pretty smart to always try to, be steps ahead, especially in the development game, because there's so many moving parts. And, if you're always thinking ahead, moving steps ahead, you can kind of mitigate whatever delays may happen that are outside of your control. And so, yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was kind of the entire framing process of this one. It's like I said, been a cool sight to see. I'm actually on the lookout for some new projects that I'll be developing now that I kind of feel like I have the hang of the new development process and just pretty much being able to GC an entire project. It's a Saturday morning, so the grind never stops. So when you look how tall and long these exterior doors are, they're not your normal prototypical sizes. So we have to get measurements on these and make sure that we do a custom order. That way we can get it done and it fits seamlessly and right for the entire project. So we already did this earlier. We got the measurements of this one, and then we'll get the one of the back door as well. Also, as you see, we have cleaning on the job site. That way, because obviously we need a clean job site for the next trades. And so we'll have custom orders for the back sliding doors as well that go into your backyard. So I think when we did this one, it was 64 by 66, something like that. Don't quote me on it, but I know it's roughly around that size. And also, we need to get one more thing done from our foundation guy to pass inspection. So before we leave, we also have 18 different windows throughout this house. And so we need to make sure that we have these windows in stock and delivered by next week. So we're gonna try to check out some windows as well, see what we can do in order to get these windows in next week. And that way we have the entire house dried in. We're here to check out, like I said, some windows, the window selection. So I have all the measurements listed on my phone, just kind of see what matches. And we want to kind of compare prices to see what we can get that's economical and that works out for the entire project. That way we don't go over budget for the windows on the new construction project. I'll send you the screenshot and then the dimensions because we got it measured this morning. That's the style. The styles of Craftsman. Got you. Right? Like you got like that. Yeah. Got you. And then we just need the, I guess, color to line up. Yeah. And then, so I have other options right here that I have in stock. So yeah, we just visited the supply store. Like I said, we wanted to really get quotes and kind of know exactly what we're going to be paying for the windows and also what the delivery time will look like. So I ended up going with the white option. More than likely, I haven't made the full selection yet. We'll come back on Monday just to kind of finalize things, but I think I'm going to go with the white instead of the black. Luckily on my renders, it was already white anyway. The delivery time on the black was like 6 to 8 weeks versus 2 weeks basically for the white. And obviously, we need to move as quickly as possible on that. So I think I'm going to move in with the white. and it was roughly around what I thought as far as pricing, about $250 a window, roughly. So that's kind of what we came in with, and it was right around that number. So yeah, everything is kind of went well, and also we get the customized exterior doors for this project as well. So yeah, man, I definitely think the one thing I should have done was kind of even be more ahead as far as ordering materials. But again, it's a learning process, so you live and you learn. But yeah, we're gonna start back about the project, and we'll kind of wrap up with my day as a day in the life of a developer. So as you saw, we had a full day in the life of a real estate developer. You saw me stop by my project, and you also saw me go actually into the supply store and order all the materials, or at least get what I need material-wise to keep the projects going. So that is a real day in the life of a developer. No flaw, no fluff. So I have 5 weeks left to finish this project based upon the original goal that I set when I first initially acquired this property. Now the question is, can it be done? So I wanted by today the siding to be up, but we had a little bit of a delay as far as passing inspection. There were a few things that the foundation sub didn't do, and so we failed an inspection, had to redo that work to make sure that it passed all the guidelines as far as for a windstorm. Given the fact that I guess in Houston we have so many different hurricanes and natural causes or natural events that take place. And so yeah, like I said, this week what I hope to accomplish is that we can finish up the siding of the project. We're able to also finish up the roofing and also begin, at least on the start, of all of your rough ends as far as with your electrical, plumbing, and HVAC on the job. So we're a little bit there. I definitely want it to be a little bit further ahead, but it is what it is. It's part of the business. As long as you continue to move forward, then you're good, So yeah, come check out the walkthrough with me as I kind of describe what we're going through. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys an update of the current status of the project. So come follow me and I'll show you guys kind of what's going on. First off, as you see, we were able to get the second floor as far as plywood and sheathing up. If you look aside here, you'll start to see the siding material. Some of it has kind of been delivered. Obviously, we need a lot more to do the whole house, but that's kind of where we're at right now. I kind of feel like I jumped the gun a little bit last week as far as everything that was required. I didn't realize that the windows were going to take a few weeks to come in. So that won't be until probably next week, maybe even the week after, given the fact that we're kind of running into some holidays. Also, before we could start with the second floor as far as sheathing, we needed to be able to pass inspection, which thankfully we passed inspection this morning. So we're able to get all the rest of that started today. The cornices and the siding, roof and decking, all that can start today, thankfully. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys. So in one of the past videos, I mentioned or brought up the fact that we had some plumbing issues. And so I'm going to go over kind of what's going on with that right now, and how we're gonna get that corrected. So as you see right here, the concrete has been essentially broken up in order to place it at the right spots where the bathtub should be, properly. Like I said, as you see kind of all around here, obviously we're just trying to replace it and put it into its proper position. And lastly, you'll see the one right here where it'll have to go back into its proper position. So that's something that was supposed to be getting done today. I live in Austin, but I'm like literally back and forth between Houston every week. And that's one of the reasons why I want to be on job site. So to people who always recommend this like out of state investing or out of state developing this and the third, if you are not on site, there are so many things that can slip through the cracks and fall through under your wing just because you can't control people, And so had I not been here, I wouldn't realize that the plumber who's supposed to get this fixed today is not here, and it's not aligning with the deadline nor the timeline that we discussed. And so, like I said, that's always the importance of making sure that you're on site, because no one's going to care about your project more than you care about it, because obviously you have the most invested into this entire thing. So that's something I wanted to point out. Also, another interesting development, as you can follow me through here. So as you see currently right here, you see this back patio door, right? And so the initial vision for this back patio door was a sliding door, as that's the modern option. Pretty much you see with all modern homes, that is the back patio door, the sliding door. It's the trend. It also looks good. You get a full view of the backyard. It's always a nice option. The issue and the problem was, which again, I didn't notice when we were drawing dimensions with my architect, was the fact that this is actually too small to be a back sliding door. you need enough space to install, I guess, multiple panels and have the full length of slide. And this currently does not do it for a sliding door. And so I think right now we're like even less than 6 foot wide, which is, pretty small. So as you see these two windows right here, what we're gonna try to do is cut these windows out and make this full thing the full back sliding door. That way it's like a seamless exit between your living space to your back patio space. And obviously you'll have a good view once we get this all spruced up in the backyard. I think obviously, again, when you're dealing with these higher price points and that close to $1 million range, you really need to be very, very cautious and particular and just prudent about every choice that you make. So if I did like some French double doors or something like that, I just don't think that would really fit the aesthetic that we're going for. And so yeah, that's an adjustment on the fly that we're gonna have to make on this on this project. And so I think that's, like I said, pretty much it right now. I'll be back out in a few days to give you guys an update. Also, I think another thing what I'm gonna do is do a cutout. So right now, this cutout is for the fireplace. I think I'm gonna do another cutout for the TV as well. So probably do a cutout for up to 65 inches. That should be big enough for TV. Maybe go a little bit bigger. We'll see. But again, we just want to make sure that whenever this home is built, it looks top tier. And whoever is a potential homeowner or home buyer, purchaser of this property feels like they're getting their money's worth. And I want to make sure that I build a great product that sticks out from amongst my peers or my competitors. So yeah, like I said, in a few days we should have everyone else kind of lined in as far as for the rough ends. So that schedule should be, like I said, I think I jumped the gun a little bit because I just didn't realize the inspections that we had, and also they scheduled other inspections. So all right, my contractor's here. I'll catch you guys on the next part of the video. Peace. So we have the project update right here. So I think on the last video, the siding wasn't completely finished. Now we are completely done with it. As you see as well, we have the roof going up. So that should be done, at least the shingle portion of it should be done by end of today. And then you'll also have the parts where you still see just the plywood. Those consist of the metal roofing. So it takes a few days for those to come in. And so that will be finished early next week for the project as well. So we'll kind of do like a little walk around of it so you can see what's going on. And then I'll show you guys the updates as far as the MEPs on the project as well. As you see the starting project right here, I think that bodes well as far as selling this house, because people like to see obviously an area with new development, new growth. And so as you see with that one coming up, this one hitting the market, I think it'll bode well for the project overall. Anyway, like I said, so the siding's already up. We're supposed to be starting the painting today, or at least priming section of painting. It has not went up yet. Man, yeah, I've definitely been irritated throughout the day. You remember I mentioned in a previous video that this needed to be cleaned up. It still has not been cleaned up. So yeah, the contractors definitely received not a good version of Brent on that. So let's go check out the rest of the interior, and then I'll show you guys kind of where we stand with that and what's next. All right, so I think, like I said, I mentioned in one of the past videos that with plumbing, there was an error that needed to be corrected and fixed. So we did get that fixed this week finally, with now the piping for the tub is now correctly installed that matches the plans. So that's a positive. As you see, we have a lot of work in progress going on with the MEPs as far as the plumbing and the electrical part. So we have a lot of wires all throughout the house. Can't really go into too much detail about all the wiring. You see this everywhere. I think I need to get a better explanation from the electrician on that, just to kind of see, or go more in depth with the utility of it all. I think I also mentioned as well that we decided to move the icebox or the refrigerator. That was one of them country slangs. We decided to move the refrigerator from the entrance to over here. So now it's officially set up over here on the project. So yeah, we're definitely making a lot of good progress as far as the MEPs. I'll show you guys upstairs as well, just where we currently stand. We're making a lot of good progress on the MEPs. Hopefully we'll be finished up with both today, Saturday, Monday, the HVAC trade will be starting as well. He said it should take him only 3 days to complete, so we'll see if he holds true to his word. You can see there's also wiring coming through here, through the trusses. So we'll see if he stays true to his word on that as far as the 3 days.
And if that is true, that we can have all this done by Wednesday, then that means that we can call inspection and get ready for the installation as well, and then the drywall. So I'm trying to speed race to that because it just seems like this part is taking a lot of time. Yeah, I'm trying to move as quickly as possible so that we can really start the cabinetry and the showers and everything else that it takes to have a house and show well. So that's the brief walkthrough of the property right now. I'll keep you guys updated on next week's progress update. Peace.
So Brent had to head back to Austin already, but before he left, he had a few strong words with the contractors to let them know what was missing and what still needed to happen. If you remember, this dumpster wasn't here, this house wasn't primed. Now, a few hours later, it is, right? And if he wouldn't have stepped up, told him what needed to happen, stood on his business, we'd still be in the same place as we were this morning. So sometimes those strong words need to happen.
Hey, we had some grace on our side, and the windows got delivered a week early, so they should be getting installed tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys updated on that, and I'll stay tuned until tomorrow. As you see right now, the exterior has been painted, so I decided to go with the alabaster look. I thought it'd be a little bit more off-white. We'll see if I decide to like finalize it or stick with it, but I decided to go with the alabaster white on the outside. The windows were supposed to be in today. They did not get delivered because I guess the guy was out of town. So they'll be delivered in the morning. We'll have those installed tomorrow. So that's good. So an important update on everything right now. As you see, we also have most of the HVAC has went up. So that's good. As you see as well, we have a lot of the electrical up. So 2 positives right there. But on the drawback and on the negative side, the plumber didn't show up any this week. The guy that initially hired him out, him and I have had a lot of disputes back and forth. And so the plumber was fired from this job site. So that guy will no longer be on this site. And I think this is necessary at this point, given the fact that there's been, from the very beginning, just red flags and mistakes. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that you have to deal with as you venture off and do something new. There's always going to be hurdles and obstacles that come in the way, but adversity, man, is a test of character. So we'll overcome this adversity and make sure that we get it all settled. So I'm looking to, hire in and bring a new crew for the plumbing so we can get this wrapped up and be able to, again, start on the next phase of the project. I guess to pretty much leave you guys off with, as you see, again, I think I mentioned this in one of the past ones, I'm still in a kind of a dilemma as far as with the backsliding door. So there's a guy that I think I actually saw on Facebook that does backsliding doors custom. And so I'm gonna stop by his warehouse to check out some of the products and the things that he has to offer for backsliding doors. And then we'll kind of make that choice or decision on that.
Yo, we might be cooked, man. That's why you cannot trust people on the internet. I think I've only had like 2 experiences where like I've hired someone off of Facebook or looking. And each time, well, I don't know, we're about to see something. Hi, hello?
Hello, Ray. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm fine, thank you. Are you within my warehouse right now?
Yeah, I was trying to check out. I know we said we were gonna make the order in person, so I was trying to just check out the website or the warehouse. But I don't know if I'm at the right spot.
No, I don't. I know here. I know stay in my warehouse right now. I stay with my guys installer in one building in spring. Right now, we have a lot working here. For that reason, I stay outside. My warehouse is in here. You can check my outside. This is a cold glass, aluminum architectural. This is outside. This one is you can check outside my warehouse. Is the carpet say cold glass aluminum? But I don't stay in this moment in here, in my place. But if you want, can I do an appointment with you? If you want, you can check.
Okay, let me give you a call back sometime, and I'll let you know whenever I have availability again.
I think so. Tomorrow is okay.
Maybe. I'll let you know. I thought you guys were already there, so I was trying to stop by and see what products you guys had. But I'll let you know my availability later on.
Outside, for example, if you see my warehouse, inside my warehouse we have one one sample, the sliding door. This is one sample in color black, color white. Sorry.
Got you. Yeah. I wanted to see the sliding door.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe tomorrow, Saturday. I don't know.
Okay.
One.
Yeah. I'll let you know. I'm gonna check out some other spots real quick, but I'll give you a text and let you know when we can.
This is my because, if you send me the text before when I come, but I stay in my warehouse when do you need?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Cooked, not happening. I mean, yeah, this guy, for one, it looked like it was a vacant building anyway. I don't know. It's already like you already have alarms whenever you're dealing with people that you don't really know or that you're not referred to. So whenever the red flags appear, I think that you should take them as a sign and listen to them. So I will not be using him. Also, it might be a sign that I needed to stick with my original plan for the or it wasn't my original plan, but the architect's original plan for the patio doors. So we'll figure something out, make it work, but this guy I will not be using. So this week we failed not one, not two, but 3 inspections on this project. Here's what I learned from being a new developer building my first ever home. As I mentioned in the past part of the video, I'm gonna go over what I learned so far in my development journey, as this week has been a very challenging and testing part of this journey. Again, given that I failed 3 inspections this week, stress level was at an all-time high, and I'm like, man, what is going on? But I also had to learn the fact, and this is what I would say lesson number 1, is control what you can control, because there's so many different moving parts in this process, and if you focus on things that you cannot control, you will literally drive yourself crazy. Trust me, I'm speaking from firsthand experience. And so yesterday I had to just sit back and reflect and like, look, man, there's only so much I can really do, and whenever you're trying to squeeze everything and have control over everything, it's not going to work out in your favor, because, again, you're only one person, one man, and, you know, sometimes you just have to submit to greater forces that be. So that was one of my bigger lessons that I learned so far. Also, just with given the fact of everything, ultimately, you are the person that is running the show, and so it's on you at the end of the day. If something goes wrong, everything's going to fall back on you. And so you need to be the person. For myself personally, there are certain things that I didn't review, which was why we failed the inspection. And it's like, okay, whoever made the mistake, ultimately it's on me because I didn't review these documents beforehand. And so that falls on me at the end of the day. And next time I know, before we, get to that point, I need to review all documents, all plans, and make sure that there's no mistakes or errors. Because if I reviewed it and caught it a month ago, then we would have never ran into it now. So, regardless of who you want to blame, at the end of the day, I think it's always best to hold yourself accountable. That way you always improve and know next time not to make those same mistakes. Also, I think you need to move with speed. And also always have, efficiency at the top of mind. But at the same time, know that everyone works at a different pace and everyone works kind of in their own way, And so you can't, again, force people to do something that's outside of who they are. And I kind of came to terms with that as well, is that, you're leading, when you do a certain project, there's 30 or 40 plus people that's going to be in and out of the job site. And it's kind of bizarre to expect for everyone to be on the same accord and on the same page. Ultimately, it's your job just to be the best leader and work with everyone where they are. You can't really expect for 10 people to reflect exactly what you do in the next 20 and 30, 40. It's just unrealistic, man. So I would say be realistic with expectations overall. And this is another lesson that I've learned as well, is that a lot of people will challenge you on things that they don't know, right? And so because of they haven't experienced them themselves or they don't know, they'll try to guide you or give you an opinion that could be completely wrong just because it comes from their point of mind or their place where they just don't know. And that's happened a few times where it's like, hey, you can't do this. And it's like, why can't I do this? Well, I think I can't do this. It's like, you don't know. So I always try to like call and verify certain things to make sure what's actually going on behind the scenes. I think that always gives you a better opinion, a better reflection overall of, you know, what can actually transpire and what can't. Because at the end of the day, man, a lot of people are just making stuff up as they go. And so, again, because it all circles back around to you, you're the person who needs to make sure and verify what can and cannot happen overall. And that even leads to my next point. And so I'm taking on a few new projects. I've kind of been quiet about it. And recently I went through a deal where the appraisal came back a certain number and everybody came back this, that, and the third. But because one person, he can't believe it. He can't see it, you know. He thinks that it's not really doable. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll show you, you know. And so those things all come back because the limitations of his mind can't extend beyond what he sees, and he can't see what I see. That, in his mind, it's not possible. In my mind, it's already been done. So it's just the two different thought processes. Even if you take this project in particular, like I said at the beginning of the video, had you came at the beginning of this year, 2025, this whole spot or pocket looked completely different. Now transform half a year later, and you have $2 million properties sitting side by side next to each other. And that all transpired in my mind, you know, 6 months ago, right? So I said it all to say, and I'm not even trying to sound arrogant. This is for you guys that when you're wherever level you're at, you're always gonna have people that try to downplay your vision or sway you away from your vision. And it's on you to follow through with God, your instincts, whatever you feel, you know, is your belief. But it's on you to make sure that your dreams transpire and become a reality. You know, it's no one else's responsibility but your own. And so I say to carry that with a lot of pride, a lot of due diligence, just a lot of care, because ultimately it's gonna be you're the one that's living and experiencing that journey, not anyone else. And so I kind of just want to wrap up. Like I said, hey, we're making a lot of progress, man. I'm ultimately excited. I'm proud of the progress that we've made so far. It's just been a very, very cool experience, man, for something that, I know, again, it was just kind of like a conception in my mind, and now everything is rapidly just kind of scaling. Like I said, even with future projects, I have a lot of big things on the way that I've yet to mention. So even with those things, it's kind of just been on my mind, and seeing this, it's been fun, man. So yeah, I just want to wrap you guys up with, I know it's not necessarily like a full project walkthrough. On the next video, you know, I'm going to show you guys the sheetrock. All the installation should be up. I'll show you guys back to the construction part, but this one's just kind of the mindset part of real estate, because I think that's actually more important than the construction. Like, you can learn all this stuff, right? But if your mind is limited, then you can't really reach certain heights. And so I think that's even more important when you go into real estate is making sure you have the proper mindset. So yeah, as I stated, there's just a lot to learn. And as being a new developer, like I said, it's bound to happen, certain mistakes, certain delays, things that are outside of your control. And so I've learned to kind of submit to those things and let my control be, you know, my focus, and not let it stress me out too much on other areas. But yeah, as I mentioned, we have a lot of progress done with the installation. Next week we'll be starting with the drywall. And then yeah, after that, most of the interior work should be going up pretty rapidly. So yeah, right now I really enjoy where we're at in the phase of the project. I think the house looks really good overall. So we've made a lot of progress. Things are really starting to manifest and turn into the vision that I saw a few months ago before any of this was ever a reality. So they said I couldn't do it, and I did it. I'm almost finishing my first ever new home build, and it's looking fantastic. Come with me to the walkthrough, and I'll show you guys all the progress that we made over the past week. So as promised, we're gonna do a walkthrough of everything that's been done over the past week. So starting off, as you guys see, even right here, we begin with the landscaping of the entire property. So I had the guys go in and put in some sod around the house, again, just to give it a lot more of a completed look. We also did a stone walkway that leads into the house. So we have the gravel surrounding that. I think it came out pretty good overall. Again,
we're just trying to hit all those different type of points to make sure that the house has a great luxury look. And then we'll walk in over here and you'll see that we did decide to get the yellow pine post up. We were able to get that, actually ran all throughout the top of the house, as you see right there. So yeah, that looks great. I'll also show you guys the backyard real quick. We're in the backyard of the entire project. I think I mentioned a few times that I really wanted to see what the backyard looked like, and I think we do have a decent sized backyard. Given where we're at, man, we're only like 5 to 10 minutes from downtown Houston, so most people have no backyard whatsoever. I think we have a really good size, especially for the size of the house, backyard. So I think this would be another good selling point of the house. Also, we ran the post up over there, so that's another great thing. Like I said, just trying to add in any advantage that we have. I made sure to just hit those points for this house. Now we'll go in and I'll show you guys the progress of the interior. So as I mentioned, we do have the drywall finally being installed within the property. So right here will be your office space. I definitely think once you get the drywall up, man, it just gives the home a way different vibe, a way different feel. And so it really is starting to have like a completed look. And I really enjoy that because now the home is starting to actually feel like a home, you know? So it's not just everything being so visual throughout the project. So we'll walk over here real quick. I think this is just another little quick storage space, but this is your guest bathroom right here. So it's just a little half bath right here. We'll walk in through the living space, and then you'll see throughout the living space, again, we have everything going up right now. This will be the fireplace. I guess we decided not to do a cutout for the TV, so we'll have that. The fireplace actually should be delivered in today, so we'll have that in within the next day or so. And then you lead throughout here. We'll have your pantry space right here, which is again a pretty good sized pantry, I think. We'll have your kitchen area right here. All the cabinets will be going in next week for installation on that. I think we went with the white oak look. I think that's a very modern, trendy look, but it's also a very good look for cabinetry, just because the texture on the white oak is really nice. Also, I think this would be like your laundry. You come in like your little laundry room right here. So we'll have that put in place as soon as you walk into the property. And yeah, let's take a look in the master, our primary bedroom, and then we'll go upstairs and you guys kind of see the rest of that. So you have the master right here. I think the master will be a pretty good look overall. It's bigger than what I thought. I think when we were in the framing stage, I thought the master would be a little bit smaller, but it's actually bigger than what I thought right here. We'll walk in and you see we'll have the dual vanities placed over here. You have the dual vanities placed right here, and then you'll also have the master shower right here with the tub placed. And actually the closet was a bit of a bigger space than what I thought as well. And then you have your toilet right here. So it came out definitely bigger than what I expected when we first initially started on the project, which was is a positive, I think, definitely as we move closer and closer to completing everything. So this would be the loft area. We still have a little bit more work. You see the installation. We still need to get these drywall sheets hung and installed up here, but overall, this will be your loft space when you walk in. I think definitely whoever takes this place over, I think when we stage, you can really make this a pretty cool hangout spot when you come upstairs, which would, you know, just be another extra added on to the house. We walk through here. You have your little hallway area right over here, and then we'll lead into one of your first secondary bedrooms right up here. Again, not the biggest room, but it's a secondary, so I don't think it needs to be massive, truthfully. You have a good enough closet space. I think definitely for any kid that potentially lives in this room or stays in here, like, it's more than enough space. It's a little bit dark in here, but this would be your upstairs full bathroom. So again, we'll have dual vanities up here as well for this one. And again, you'll have your full bathtub combo for this bathroom upstairs. So it gets the job done. I would have liked, honestly, to have probably one more restroom, if I'm being honest, just because we have 3 bedrooms upstairs and all 3 are gonna have to share the same restroom. So, you know, I could have, you know, made at least another half bathroom, if nothing else, upstairs, but you live and you learn. This is your other secondary bedroom. I think the views of this one is pretty cool, just given the fact that, you know, you can really see out, and, you know, if you want to catch some natural lighting,
you know, you can do so, and I think that helps. Even with the closet, there's a window in the closet over here. So again, pretty good closet space overall. And then we'll go to my secretly my favorite room of the house, which is a movie room that we converted into a bedroom. So this room right here is pretty sick to me. I just think that how we have the roof slanted, you know, just kind of that sloped look looks pretty cool. Ultimately for the, you know, just the room aesthetics. So I think there's a lot of potential with this room, honestly, overall. And whoever gets this room, you're a lucky person, because I think this room is pretty sick, honestly. So yeah, like I said, we're mostly done with the hanging drywall. That should be done today. We'll tape and float within, I think tomorrow, and texture Sunday, Saturday, you know, something like that. So we're pretty much, like I said, completed with that, and then we'll start on painting. Next week we'll have your cabinets installed, shower installed, the tiling and everything else. So there's tons of progress. I think someone had mentioned, I had a video a few weeks ago that stated that I had 5 weeks left to complete the house, and someone's like, "Oh, you're 3 months away. It's impossible." I'm showing you it's possible, man. We're probably only 3-4 weeks out tops from completing the entire house. If you're good with managing contractors, you'll have no issue with having speed. Of course, you want it to be quality work, and that's what inspections are for, and everything else that you see. But honestly, man, we're making, for this to be my first ever home build, I think I would rate myself at least a B+ or above, just because there was so much going into it that was an unknown, and now seeing it transform literally on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, proving everyone wrong that thought I couldn't do it. That's beside the point. All along, like, it's been a great lesson. I just had a reflectionary point, even like last night. I'm like swimming in the pool, and I'm like, man, like, what a time to be grateful for what's been achieved so far. There's been so much, you know, just going on in the entire process, and I'm always trying to think about like what's next, and not really appreciate like and smell the flowers of what's going on right now. And so yeah, I just took a step back and was like, man, I'm grateful for the position I'm in, to still be in my 20s, building my first ever home, to have done numerous real estate deals. Like, I'm in a blessed position. I need to be grateful for that. So yeah, not to get too much off tangent, overall, like I said, we've made a lot of progress on this project. I'm thankful for it all. And yeah, we're gonna be on to bigger and better in the future, but as of now, this is my biggest, and let's get it through to the end. So as you see, man, we've been making steady progress day in, day out. The drywall has been going up. I think we should be finishing the tape and float and texturing by this weekend. The landscaping looks great. I'm glad that we were able to go ahead and put that out here. Again, because we decided to pre-list it for pre-sale, and so we needed a good presentation. I had a lot of contractors fight me on that, but I think ultimately it came out great for that. You saw the cedar posts give it a lot more of a completed look. Like I said, man, this is a modern farmhouse, so I really wanted to fit it within that aesthetic. Overall, man, we just made so much progress on this project. We're only a few weeks away, I think, from completing the entire project. We'll be having cabinets installed next week, and also start with the showers and tiling for that. I know a lot of you are wondering, how much does it cost to really build a house? And today, I'm gonna break down how much I've spent so far on building my first ever home. So starting off with cost number one will be your siding. Now that costed me material and labor $18,000. And so now again, everything was included, turnkey trade on that. And then next will be your exterior paint. Now I decided to go with an alabaster white look. It's kind of like an off-white, so I thought it fit this house very well. And that cost me $6,000 for the alabaster white exterior paint. And so then we'll move on. You see your cedar posts right here, added onto the house. And this cost me $3,800 for your yellow pine cedar posts, ran all throughout the entire house. And then landscaping, I know it looks trash right now. We have trash everywhere. The landscaping in total, sod, gravel, and the stone walkway was $5,400. So next up, we have your fencing. We decided to run cedar fencing all throughout the house, which I think turned out to be fantastic. That in total ended up being $6,000 as well. For a cedar fence, ran all across the house. Next up, we have your windows. I decided to go with your white vinyl windows for this project. I think white looks better than black, especially for this one. I know black is a new trend, and that totaled out to be $5,000 for the material. And I think I paid an extra $2,000 or a little bit less than that for labor. So $7,000 total for both your material and labor on the windows. So next up we have your roof, and this included both your normal shingles plus also metal roofing, and so that totaled out to be $14,000 for both shingle and metal roofing, labor, material combined. Next up we'll have your electrical. Given this house was 3,500 frame square foot, the electrical guy decided to charge me $18,000 for full electrical on the house. Now that's labor only. I'm gonna spend about another $3,000 to $4,000 on fixtures as well, so that totals out to be about $22,000 in total for electrical on this project. So I originally purchased this lot, which consisted of 2 different homes, for $350,000. Now, given that this did have 2 different lots, I split one of them off, sold it for additional $215,000, and kept this one. And so that brought my land cost down by quite a bit. And we also had demolition costs, given the fact that there were 2 existing homes on the property, which totaled out to be $13,000 on that as well. So we have a lot of work going on right now on the inside. So we're gonna break down all the interior costs on segment 2 of this video. Regarding all your trim, interior doors, I spent roughly $6,000 on both labor and material for both of those trades. And that's including all trim and labor included. Regarding your HVAC, I spent roughly $18,000, and that is with both labor and material included in that price. So regarding installation on this project, I spent a total of $6,700 for both labor and material on it. Next up, we'll have your countertops. We decided to run with quartz countertops all throughout the house, and that totaled out to be roughly $8,000 on quartz countertop throughout the entire house. Given the fact this is a modern farmhouse, we decided to keep with the same wood aesthetic. And so with flooring, we decided to go with white oak engineered hardwood flooring on this entire project. And that totaled out to be $15,000 with both labor and material included. $8,000 was strictly material, $7,000 was labor. So next up we have the fireplace. I saw a cool design online that I really wanted to replicate for this project. So for your wood slats, I got off Amazon for roughly $700. And also I got the fireplace from Amazon, roughly $550 to $600 for that. Next up, we'll have your interior paint, which is the alabaster look. All in interior paint cost me roughly $10,000. And that was both labor and material included, $10,000 all in price for interior paint. Next up, you'll have your cabinets. I mean, these cabinets turned out gorgeous. Absolutely love them. We decided to go with a custom white oak cabinets. Like I said, ran all throughout the house. And that totaled out to be $12,000 in total for custom white oak cabinets. Again, ran all throughout the house. Next up, we'll have your garage door. We went with an 8x7 garage door that was custom. I got it online for roughly $3,700, and that was with a wood oak finish as well. And so that totaled out to be $3,700 for your custom garage door. Next up, we'll have your foundation / excavation. I spent a total of $30,000 on that entire process. And again, that was a turnkey. We had the site graded, leveled, and also with the concrete pouring and rebar permits, everything in total was $30,000. Next up, we have your framing. Some of those materials were ordered by myself, but most of it was by my contractor that also handled the framing. And that totaled out to be $45,000 in total for framing, which was labor and materials included. Next up, we'll have your drywall. Common thing that you see with most of my trades were both labor and material included, because it basically equaled out the same price that I would have got had I just ordered them myself. And so for drywall, we totaled out to be $18,000, both labor and material included, and that was with the level 4 finish on this project. Regarding plans, architectural, and engineering, that totaled out to be $7,500. And that was with both your architectural plans and your engineering plans combined, which is all I needed for the city, and roughly another $1,000 for permitting fees that we needed in order to pass the city plan review on this process. So coming in next, we'll have plumbing. As you guys know, that was the one area that I had a lot of mistakes on, and had to also fire another contractor who owes me $6,000 still. As of now, I've paid a total of $29,000 on plumbing, and that was again because I had a major F up with a plumber who didn't follow through on his job. And so $29,000 is the total cost so far with plumbing. Overall, man, like I said, we made tremendous progress on this entire house. We're at probably about 85% completion. And over these next 2 weeks, we'll kind of knock out that remaining 15 to 10% of the entire house. And look, man, I think roughly within 90 days or so, I was able to build from top to bottom my first home. So that's a great accomplishment. I'm glad to be almost at the finish line of this one. Also, even on the positive side, we had a few comps that we're looking at in the area. Those both went under contract here this week. So I think we're setting ourselves up in prime position to sell this house as soon as it's finished. I think it's going to show extremely well, especially in this area. I think we have the best product on market. So I'm very enthused to see this one come through to the finish line. Also, I'm closing on our project. I've already signed, but we officially close here in a few days on my next project. So I'll be bringing that one to the channel, and I think it's a one-on-one. I haven't seen anyone quite do a renovation or project like this that's going on the next project. So stay on the lookout for that, as that'll be kind of gearing up when this one finishes. A lot of content on that one. So we were officially 10 days away from finishing this house from start to finish. As you guys have seen throughout the entire journey of this channel, man, this house went from completely dirt to a $1 million house in less than 3 months of a transformation. I've learned so much on this experience and this journey. I've been very thankful, for all the lessons that I have learned and the experiences that I've taken away on this path. So now, since we're getting to the final stages, I'm gonna show you guys kind of what I decided to go with on the finishes. Because we have pretty much everything in, everything else is sort of just knockout punch work to complete at this house. But we are about 10 days away from finalizing everything, and then we'll have stagers come in, take some photos, and knock the rest of that out. So yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a tour of what selections I decided to go with, and you can kind of follow along and see what you guys think for my selections on the finish of the house. All right, so we're gonna walk into the biggest room in the entire house, starting off with, again, your converted movie room into a spacious 4th additional bedroom. Like I said, I think this is gonna really help out with comps. Just having this extra bedroom, it's gonna look really well on market, just having that displayed. As you guys see, we have beautiful hardwood engineered flooring, ran throughout the entire house. I think it came out beautiful. We also did your larger baseboards, which is kind of more of a modern trend. Just going with those new homes. I think it adds a very luxury look. We actually had a compliment earlier. I was talking to a builder that's building right next door, and they were looking at the floor, and they said, hey man, this flooring looks better than flooring that we see on $1 to $2 million homes. So that's a huge compliment regarding that. As you guys see, we do have the recessed lighting begin to get installed. Now, there is one problem with me and my realtor walked a few homes not too long ago, and these like cups that we see that, go around the recessed lighting looked a little bit cheaper than what we liked. So those may get replaced. Honestly, I just realized that once we looked up. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the rest of the house, the rest of the finishes that we decided to choose, let you guys see what's been going on. Given the fact that we don't really have electricity, it's a little bit hard to see exactly everything that's going on, but I will do my best to show you guys and explain what design selections that we decided to go with. So as you see right here, we have your white quartz countertops with a little bit of a brown design or stain running in throughout that. Now again, we have not stained the white oak cabinets. So we do have white oak cabinets, again, ran all throughout the house. And you see your dual vanities right here. So I think definitely it gives the home a very modern, full look. This is your only full bathroom upstairs. So it came with a pretty cool design. As you see, we kind of went with your dark gray, black stone flooring right over here. And then you'll have as well your floor to ceiling shower, combo shower with bathtub ran throughout here. So overall, definitely a pretty cool look. There's still some touch-ups and stuff that need to be made, but we do have the gist of the entire bathroom completed. So we'll walk into your other secondary bedroom upstairs. As you guys see, again, not too big, not too spacious, but I do think, like I said, overall it gets the job done as far as just overall a secondary bedroom for, you know, a younger child that could potentially live here in the future. Again, same design selections. I'm not gonna go too crazy with painting the walls different colors or anything like that. Just given the fact that this is a spec house to sell, if I choose that I like red and then potential homeowners don't like that color, I think it does more of a negative than a positive. So I'm gonna keep most of the tones neutral throughout the entire house, and, you know, really try to let whoever takes over the home have their own canvas to paint on regarding that. As you guys see, now this is the loft kind of space once you come upstairs. And so it's like a really cool hangout area that I think would be really cool for, you know, pretty much just separate. Children can kind of hang out up here. The adults can hang out downstairs and vice versa, however you may like it. We have a pretty big ceiling fan that's remote controlled as well. Very, very cool space. As you guys see also, we have the wood railing and staircase that's going up. They're actually supposed to be putting in the metal railings today. I don't see that being done right now. So there's some few questions that need to be asked and answered regarding that. But overall, like I said, we got the bulk of the house pretty much done. Now we're just punching out those final things. We'll walk down the staircase and you guys will see everything that we decided to do in the living spaces and their primary bedroom. So as you guys see, we did go with the custom wood tread and wood design for the staircase and the stair steps. Ultimately, I think we did a really good job of executing on making this a modern farmhouse. We really played to a lot of those different aesthetics overall throughout the entire home. As you see, even right here, we decided to go with the wood slats. Again, that was kind of like a design choice. Any of you guys are on the internet, you see that in the past year or so, this has been a common trend for kind of accenting different walls. I think I'm gonna honestly even put like shiplap on certain other parts of the house just to kind of, again, play into that design choice overall. As you guys see, again, we definitely have a pretty wide overall living space / kitchen. Definitely a huge island. The kitchen cabinets run throughout the entire wall. So, I mean, I think that pretty much we executed on every kind of point that I wanted to going into this house and building it, the vision that I had. I think we matched what I had in my head, truthfully. And so I have a few little designs, even like fixtures, things of that sort that kind of came in. So as you see, man, everything is a very common theme and aesthetic that matches throughout the entire home, throughout this project. Now, one thing that I still need to get, and it's very last minute, is a back door that leads out to the yard. I still have not ordered that yet, and that's just due to me really just leaving this on a back burner and not really thinking about it, truthfully. So I still need to do that, but yeah, let's walk into the primary, and I'll show you guys kind of what we decided to do in there. All right, so yeah, we're here at the primary bedroom. Very spacious, very big. We still have one more thing left. We're gonna do these double barn doors that leads from the bedroom to the bathroom. I think it'll be a seamless transition from between both of those living spaces. That turned out pretty cool. I think we're supposed to get that done today and it did not get done. So that's another thing to add on the to-do list. Again, as we walk into here, still need to clean up quite a bit, but same concept with basically your white countertops, your white oak cabinets, and then the stone flooring. And as you see as well, you'll have your shower, same concept with more so marble look as far as on the shower wall and all that. We're supposed to be putting in your fixtures here pretty soon. So we still have left your vanities, the mirrors, need to put in a tub. So yeah, we still have a few things on the to-do list, but like I said, we have about 10 days left and all that will be done within these next 10 days. Have a pretty spacious closet as well. Pretty dark in there so you can't really see. Hopefully next time we do this walkthrough, the electricity will be turned on so you guys can really get a full scope of everything that we're looking at. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys, I think we still have left the office space and then the half bath, and then I'll show you guys kind of what we've done on the outside, and that'll be pretty much it for the walkthrough. Alrighty, so we'll lead over to this half bath right here. Now, I did mention, again, it's a little bit dark. I did mention that I would have liked to keep everything neutral, but I am toying with the idea of at least just for your half bathroom, making this one a different color, just to throw off the vibe a little bit, you know, add a little sauce or flavor to the entire home and not have everything so neutral. So I am toying with the idea, and my realtor, she's about to pull up here in a few minutes. So we'll talk about that idea, discuss, and see if I'm thinking logically on that. And so you have your little foyer area right here. I think it'd be cool to put like shiplap or some type of wall design, just kind of accent on this wall right there. So I'm toying with that idea as well, which more than likely get done for that room, and then the one upstairs with the loft. You have your office space right over here, which again turned out to be pretty big. Now, I was in talks with adding recessed lighting to this room just to overall make everything, you know, light up a little bit more. But once I saw how big this fixture is, the chandelier, I mean, it added a whole lot of perspective as far as this room can be lit up with honestly just this. And so I really have no problems with just leaving this and kind of not worrying about adding recessed lighting to the entire house. And so yeah, I'm gonna show you guys the backyard, the fence work that we decided to do, and I'll pretty much conclude, I would say about our 85% to 90% completion of walkthrough. And then hopefully by the time we do this again, the house will be fully complete. So yeah, come with me to the backyard and see what design choices I made on the fence. Alrighty, so as you guys see, last but not least, we do have the backyard. And like I said, we decided to run cedar fencing all throughout the entire yard. I think the landscaping with that turned out to be a pretty nice combination. And we also decided to lay the boards horizontal rather than vertically, because I just think it adds a cooler aesthetic, man. And ultimately, like I said, you just want a product that you're proud of whenever you're designing or building something, especially to this magnitude. I think every choice matters. And so I made sure not to cut any corners in regards to that, even if it may cost me a few extra bucks on the back end to ultimately pay for those decisions. So yeah, man, like I said, we're basically at the finish line of this entire project. I've had so much fun just learning everything so far. I hope you guys have enjoyed this entire journey. I've tried to be as transparent as possible on every single video. That way you guys are basically in this side by side with me, learning step by step of the way. We had everything set for Monday, which is a few days away, to pretty much have stagers come in and then that next day take photos. That's on the verge of not happening right now, because as you see over here, the driveway has still not been poured. Yeah, there's just a lot of issues right now that's going on with that. We were supposed to have an inspection scheduled yesterday. That did not happen. I don't know if this is even going to get done by the end of this week, which would push our timeline back, you know, at least a few days to a week. So I'm trying to prevent that from happening and doing everything in my control to avoid that. But yeah, we started off the day with a little bit of chaos on that end of things, but overall things are looking well. Now, you know, we're at that punch out phase where there's a lot of little details that you have to clean up and fix to make sure that the project is as envisioned, and once it gets to market, there are no, you know, corrections needed overall. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys what we're looking at on the inside, and then, like I said, we'll follow along the rest of my day as we scout some more potential acquisitions for real estate. All right, so as I mentioned, we're punching out these final checklist items, get everything complete. This room is actually one of the ones that's pretty much done. I think they did a really good job with this room overall, so we don't really need too much of work or correction on this one, but as you'll see throughout the house, we do have quite a bit of corrections necessary. We'll walk first over into this guest bathroom. The room does not really have a feel of a house that's going to be on market for almost $1 million. I don't know quite what it is. There's also miscommunication. They painted these cabinets right here, which took away just that aesthetic, that look, which I hate. I don't know why they did that. There's some sort of miscommunication along the way. But yeah, there's gonna be some corrections needed for this room so that we can change the vibe right there. As you see, we did put shiplap on the foyer area to kind of accent the wall. I do like that look, so I'm not too mad about that. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see on camera, but the staircasing and the stairs, the finishes on it, again, not up to par. Yeah, it's just not something that I'm pleased with overall, so we're gonna have to make some corrections on that end. As you see now, the living room, now with the lights as well, has a completely night and day feel. We're making a lot of progress on this end. Again, another issue, and it sucks to be in this space because you can't really appreciate anything in the project because there's so many like fine details they're trying to correct. But even with these cabinet handles, they're supposed to be installed where they're pointed out, not like this. And so they installed all of them. Literally every single cabinet handle and drawer was installed the wrong way. So that's gonna need to be redone. We still have appliances that need to be put in. So yeah, man, like I said, we have about 4 to 5 days to really wrap this up.
And yeah, I'm kind of like fretting. So as you guys have seen, we're putting the finishing touches up on this house. That way we're ready and live for action next week on the market. Time is finally here. A few months ago, I set out on a journey where I had no clue where it would lead. Now that I'm standing here at the finish line, I can say that it was well worth it. Let's go inside and see how I did. Alrighty, so as we open up with the house, you see to your right, a great office space. Man, the stagers did a phenomenal job all throughout the house. I'll let you guys be the judge of it, but personally, I've had good reviews from literally every single person that's had a chance to check out the property so far. We'll do an open house this weekend, so fingers crossed we're going to contract by the end of the weekend. But yeah, I'll lead you guys throughout the house. Like I said, staging, phenomenal job. So I think on the last video, I maybe had shiplap up, I'm not sure yet, but we did decide to paint the shiplap with Brewster Gray, and man, it came out a phenomenal job. It doesn't even really look gray in my eyes. It kind of looks more of like a blue tone, but it's very neutral. Came out phenomenal. And as you see as well, we'll walk over here to the guest bathroom. And this was also beforehand one of those rooms where I was like, man, the vibe just isn't really there. It's not kind of what I have in mind. But once we painted the restroom, again with that Brewster Gray, it just completely changed the entire feel of the restroom and really gave it that grand luxury feel that we were going for at the very beginning. And yeah, so I'll walk over, lead you guys to the living room, and you see just how well the stagers did on this one as well. And yeah, it's just overall a very phenomenal setting. I think, honestly, bro, just with this being my first ever project, we really crushed it. A lot of times I don't really smell the flowers. I'm always, headed in the future, my mindset on the future. But truly, like now that we're standing here at the final result, the end of it, I can really kind of take a step back and appreciate the entire project and see it for what it is. And yeah, man, I think that we really hit it out the park with this one. And it's definitely a promising sign for the future, just given the fact that, now we're only going to move on to bigger and better and higher end projects. So if this is the floor, then the ceiling is at, in the moon. So that's a promising thing. But yeah, as you see, we have the fireplace, the electric fireplace, the wood slatted, accent to accent the fireplace wall, which came out of, like I said, phenomenal. As you see, we have the island with quartz countertops. Has like a brown stain in it that highlights and complements a lot of the other tones in the house. I think came out very, very phenomenal. Even with all the fixtures, I mean, man, we went really, really detailed with this project. I think you can see all of the results and the hard work that really went into this project, just with all the different luxuries that you see highlighted and complemented throughout the house. Also, like I said, we have white oak cabinets all throughout the entire home, cabinets and drawers. And yeah, I think that look really, really just kind of sealed the deal on the entire house. We had a lot of trouble initially finding what stain that would match kind of what we had in mind for the cabinets. And I think we went with the whitewash. After a lot of research, that turned out to be the best overall stain choice and design that would still maintain, that look, that feel, but also, still have protection over the cabinets and drawers, which I think, worked out pretty well. Obviously, we have stainless steel appliance all throughout the entire house. So, again, man, I think there's no corner cut in this entire house. It's definitely one of those things where, again, whoever potentially moves in here, I think they'll be very happy and pleased with the final result and product. As you see, we have your dining area, not too big, not too spacious. I'm not even sure how much dining rooms are incorporated in 2025. I haven't really seen, families do that sit down, formal, dinner that used to be a thing back in the past. But I do think overall the dining space still works out. Now we'll leave over to the primary bedroom that I think turned out phenomenal. Again, man, I cannot credit the stagers enough. This room turned out absolutely crazy. It really just complements everything, all the touches throughout. As you see, we have the stained barn doors that lead into the primary bathroom. And dog, these came out phenomenal. I really love the design choice on these, and probably will do them again in the future, to be honest.
As you see, we have your freestanding tub right here, gold accents. I think this is more like a brash nickel gold, but definitely all throughout the house you'll see just that theme that comes together with everything, and everything really just is very color coordinated throughout the home, which I love. As you see, we have your standing shower right here. Again, man, just a really phenomenal job. You kind of have the marble towel on there, and then we have sort of like a stone aesthetic regarding the flooring choice of flooring towel. And then you have your St. Troops toilet right over here. I think, again, 10 out of 10. Now, the only drawback that I will say is I think we could have done a better job with overall the master or primary closet. It's not as spacious as I would have wanted it to. But again, it's one of those things. It's like, hey, this is one of the things that come with learning on the go, and this being your first ever build. You don't necessarily know where you go wrong at, right? So that's the only thing that I would have done differently in regards to that space. Now we'll go up to the living space, and then we'll check out everything with her. Alrighty, so as you see, we'll lead into your loft space area that transitions on the second story. And again, this is a really cool hangout spot. We didn't stage this area just because we didn't feel like it was necessary. But I do think that it's a cool hangout spot that you can pretty much do as you want. You can get it really as creative as you want to, honestly. So yeah, we'll lead over to your first secondary bedroom. And again, nothing really too crazy, but it gets the job done overall. I think, you know, it's a nice room for like a small child or something like that. And then as you see, we'll lead over to full bathroom upstairs, dual vanities, again, oak cabinets. You know, you have pretty cool fixtures up there. So I think, you know, we got the job done over here. You'll lead over to the floor to ceiling towel that we went with the white marble look over here. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. And again, still gold accents, gold fixtures, you know, replicated all throughout the house, which I think really did a phenomenal touch, you know, just to the entire project. We'll lead over to the other secondary bedroom. The cool aspect about this room, you get a lot of natural light. So I think that's something that, you know, is a highlight of this room. Again, not too crazy big or anything like that, but again, it gets the job done for, you know, a secondary room, and you're not really trying to go too crazy or over the top with it. And then we'll lead over to your last but not least, your fourth bedroom, which I think is probably the coolest room, honestly, just design wise. You know, it has such a sick design with the vaulted ceilings, and also just how spacious it is. Like even when you speak in here, it kind of echoes, right? Just because of, you know, how the vibrations and stuff hit. But yeah, overall this room is pretty sick. And yeah, man, we'll do like an exterior walkthrough as well. Show you guys kind of what got done, and then that'll be a wrap up of pretty much the entire house. So as you see, we have a seamless transition from your living space to your back patio and your backyard. I think that is another highlight of this entire house. Now again, the back patio isn't too large, but again, given the fact that where we're located within the city, I definitely think it beats a lot of townhomes or other homes that are comparable to this house, you know, with still city living overall. Again, the backyard, decent enough space. I actually think you could probably put like a smaller pool in this area if you wanted to, or just really spruce up the entire landscape. We really left that design choice up to the homeowner, just so, you know, if we did something that they didn't like, you know, we wouldn't have to necessarily make revisions or really turn them off by doing so. I walked the house, actually, that was in this neighborhood that they pretty much added on to their patio area, like a sunroom, and it like literally diminished the entire backyard. And I was like, man, you know, that really hurt them on the sale for that. So yeah, this is the backyard. Let's go inside, and then we'll wrap up final thoughts on this entire process. Man, so what a journey this entire home building process has been. You guys have literally seen me from start, before I even bought this property, closing on it, demoing, foundation, framing, the entire nine. You guys saw from start to finish this entire process. So if you've been with me since the start of the journey, I really appreciate you guys for the support. It really means a lot, you know, definitely with all of the hurdles that you do go through and encounter on a home building process. There's so many moving parts. Just having people encourage you along the way is definitely something that, you know, does not go unnoticed. And again, man, we're only on to bigger and better. Like I said, this is my first one.
You guys saw, you know, the goods, the bads, the ups and downs. But yeah, I plan on having a really long career in this space, and I don't plan on going away anytime soon. So yeah, I'm already obsessing over the next project, the next lots that I'll be locating, and like really just going crazy and seeing how far I can really push this thing and really take it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, that's it. I'll catch you guys. Peace.